This is the distance that we made on the other side of the spectrum. Looks like it's a little bit farther, but not quite the 188. Could take the same time. For all the consolidation was roughly the same amount of distance that we had between this low and this one. So now it's even on both sides, back to the main consolidation. We did take some, this is where you want to make it safe. But obviously low size should be taken in environments like this if you're going to take anything. And knowing that you could be doing it multiple times is important as well. That's the blue line. This is the other blue line. Basically the high of the node, the B point that's pretty significant is also right up in here. I'm not sure why that's not marked, but the next profit taking point. Obviously the size isn't incredible, but you know, profit's profit.
Glad I went ahead and got in on it. Oof, that's great. It was worth the risk, you know? It was worth making the attempt.
Yeah. Even if you were like, alright, it's gonna take 10 times, this is one of those 10 times, let's do it. I don't care if it comes back 10 more times, like just do it anyways. I mean, I did it in the morning like crazy. What is it to do it over here just a few more times? But I didn't even play it that good. I scaled into it, but I didn't sell it for a loss though, which is nice. Entry wasn't the best though. The next one though, I bought a bunch and then sold it all here. Well, not all of it, but all of that and most of that, and then trailed it off on the blue line and continued past. It had a lot of time and it didn't use it, which I'm not complaining. It's so funny to me that we're at the 38% retracement. I do think it'll make it past it, to be honest, because 38's not a normal level that we use. The market, this is the way of the market reminding us that it can be used. And we may just be in a fourth wave, you know, because we haven't made any counter trend moves since we started this. And it looks like the last time we were associated with the blue line, funny enough, doesn't it? Like we came down to test it from above. Isn't that interesting? Coincidence? I don't think so. It just so happens to treat the same style of line the exact same way and stop for nothing else. They've tried to make sure that long trades don't work for people today. Look at how freaking singular entity sort of vibe this last move gives us. Or do you think it's everybody just signing on at the same spike at the bottom after a tough day of not being able to survive going long? You think everybody just suddenly was like, you know, no. It wasn't all those other times that screwed us. We're actually gonna use now after 1 o'clock. And I'm like, geez. But the market chose 1 o'clock, well, not even, it was a little bit after, for the reversal, which is a lot longer than a lot of people that would like to literally wait for it. And yeah. So when we go sideways up then down, we like to come back to the middle. When we go sideways down then up, we like to come back to the middle. Even before, like when we were going here and we gave it a good attempt, but we didn't make it all the way. What if we give this one an attempt? Because it's true that we went sideways here. Did you not feel that? You know, and then we went down, you know, and then we went up. And then if we do that, it's not the end of the world. But at the end of the day, I thoroughly believe we're gonna go and punch the sky again, and it just has to be without most people, and most people don't know that it's a game played against them. And I keep trying to say that it's tough, you know. Today was a really boring day for me, I think, because it was it was tedious, you know, tedious. And I'll show you, it's very accurate. I've done this day many days before, active approach with the lows today, like this. Like I pretty much just chilled out there and it came back down. I started at the very low and then caught it, didn't like it. And it's like, I don't wait for it to come and stop me out. I close the position because I don't like it. Like, I don't wait for it to stop me out because I'm a fucking robot, you know? Like I cut it because I understand that it should be cut. Then I've been cutting it all day, cutting it, and then I let it run. Because I know most people are conditioned to think that it's not going to run for them, it's not going to work for them, because it didn't 100 times. Like how many times on this chart did I try? Did I expect it every single time to go? What did I say in the morning? Expect it not to. Literally, I didn't expect one time for it to freaking go, you know? And I just mindlessly repeat the process of getting in, paying myself, allowing it to remain exposed. Sometimes with more shares than other times. The last trade, I didn't even have a good entry, but I wasn't gonna like sell one contract or two contracts for a loss, you know, whatever. I'm not going too heavy size in here. It's not the lows, it's not extremes. Letting some MNQ run through the night on this account and then having a different account tomorrow. If this account wants to run, you know, I'll let it run, but I'll trade on a different side account now. Literally swap it over. This can become a long-term account if it wants to, because it's like, why would I sell what I have left? It's basically gonna be able to pay me more if it continues running. If it wants to go through the highs, that's great. It can really benefit. But in the event that the rest goes south, I'm not gonna think twice about it. It'll just become another side account again soon. So if it wants to push through the highs, that's great. Stops should be placed at a profit as low as possible for some of the position. At the extreme, you can drag some of the stops up if you want, you know. But I'm not a fan of that, you know. Like, I didn't get stopped out once today. I took profit on every single one of the times that I scratched the trade, you know what I mean? So, because I knew it wasn't going to be the time. Every single time, ironically. Every single time. Like, this was the first part of the day, and this was the second, and this was all of it. At the end of the day, we're hitting B points. I don't think that these B points are really good to sell at though, honestly. The ones that are higher are way more significant. Like this next one coming up on the other side of a node there, eh? So making wicks and spikes that go and snap to it to try and come back to the top of the triangle could be easy. Yeah. The 61 gold bar is also on the table for the end of the day potentially. Keep an eye on that thing. I think that everybody's just about ready for it to be done, you know. But people will learn buy low, sell high, and they won't do it. They will buy and hope to sell higher. And I mean, when we've chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped after fast blast, all of the choppy movement that we do there could be taken out in one swift go just to come back to the POC at any given time. That's why I said if you drag your stop above the POC, you could lose your position. Another day for centralizing for the imbalance. And when it comes to tomorrow, we can remember the symmetry of this consolidation. We can remember the fact that it stood on top of the fourth wave of a 5-wave move the entire time. The fact that it came from an inverse head and shoulders. And that played out. And then they were like, now you try in the opposite direction, right? Head and shoulders only got down a little tad there. You see that right shoulder? I'm like, what is that? See that pattern right there? That just went like that. Bam. That screws everyone in that pattern. We all know that. We can remember that. It's not very nice. And the past couple hours, ironically, has been full of landmines for people. The necessity is the target. And it's because everyone knows that, oh, it's coming to the end of the day, I better get all weak about holding my position and, you know, think about giving it up because it's the culture I have or something. And I'm like, I don't like that. We got to make sure we have more of a sound mental structure to understand the value of making sure that you hold the extreme. Because, like, what was the value of holding the last extreme? And who's to say they're not still in? You know, they are. They're very likely to be. And they put up a big fight about this move, which is good. I mean, it's good. You know, it gives the same kind of vibe that it had on the bigger picture too, where it had that spike and that spring, where it lacked that right shoulder, but instead, it did it a little bit higher. It is the case that this is a battle between the professionals and the people. You can tell who started the fight. You know, they set the parameters for the conditions where the people were at the weakest, and then they jabbed them when it hurt them the most. And I see that. And then they grinded them out like a meat grinder. They were like, oh, you want a piece of this action? Well, you get sideways. And I'm like, yeah, what does that do to somebody that's been screwed around, you know? And they don't even have the opportunity to fix it because they don't know short-term trading. They're waiting for a move as big as this one to be able to rectify their mistakes. They're just not getting it. And I'm like, oh, it's the way the market decides it to be, though. And I mean, you know, the way that it picked this fight, the way that it made this situation, it will make this the situation again. It doesn't expect many people to be able to learn from it because they're eliminated and they don't want to do it anymore. A lot of people, when they go through a problem that makes them really emotional, they can't see the logic of it, so they get freaked out, they get emotional, they can't see it clearly. But I'm like, that's the way to see it clearly about what's happening to those people that are really emotional right now, so you can avoid it happening to you. Because it's because of their lack of clarity that they're in that situation in the first place. If not, how not? You know? Only if they knew the trap was there, right? Only if they saw it as in a skeptical way, only if they didn't want to be a person of the node and get treated like absolute crap for 2 hours. You know? But it's not like the market isn't going to go sideways for 2 hours again in the future. The more that every single movement can actively impact you, the more reason you have to understand every movement. You know, because at the end of the day, when you're trading in the short term, every single movement, every single indication you can get that matters. You know, like you really want to know what's going to happen every single which way, shape, and form to what's going on. And if you live your life like that, and then you decide to trade long term, are you at an advantage or a disadvantage? You're at an incredible advantage because you're actually going to look where other people don't. They look at certain things, like some people can read an article, buy into a position and hold for years just because they read a paragraph. Articles have been swaying people to buy their positions for decades. After all, the imbalance is a good place to make an S-wave that overlaps the most of the people in the consolidation. Now, I'm under the impression that that much of a dip wasn't enough for these people. They're still squeezed. They all wanted it to come down, and when it screws them, and the people that were waiting for it to come around get this, I don't think that's good enough for the most of these people. And a lot of them are still trapped, I think. Even though there was a downwards move. Did you know that if we go up here, right, and hit this level, which was the original sideways up and down, right? We go up there and hit that level, it makes this B point, the 61. Literally. So, see that? So that level right there on the other side of the gold bar, which is the other side of the gap, which is also the B point, which is also the green zone, like basically, it's where the green zone begins. Like, remember this range? This is the green zone, this is the red zone. Definitely knows about it. Going up to attack it hard would make this the 61. Like, I don't care if it does this. Is that still the 61? I'm like, yeah, it is. I mean, like, this movement does not change anything. See that 61 moving around there? Like, it really doesn't change much. So, that general area is going to be intriguing. We want to go and fight it, you know? Let's see what happens when we get there. It's not a matter of if. And it's not like it's a new target, I've been talking about it all day. It's gold bar because of today's movements, like I put this in today. Because it's relative to today's movement. This entire movement, you see that 61 right there? That's where the 61 is. Now there's a B point that's just past it, that's never been tested, because when we did this movement here, we didn't manage to get it. It never got that B point. So that's all of the things that we need to know right now that I find relevant. You know, it's like I've had the patience every day to wait for this, and I understand that this can happen. You know, it's not a matter of like, oh, maybe it's going to, I don't feel like anything. I feel like it every day. Of course, 30 seconds till the close. Yeah, I think I have another one there. And that's the close.